You call it humility, you call it selflessness, you call it being a good leader. But I need you to hear me very clearly today. That voice in your head that says, don't ask, don't take up too much space, don't make it about you. That would be too much to ask. I would never trouble somebody like that. I would never ask somebody for that because that would be too much. And I want to tell you, and I want you to listen to me very clearly, that voice is not humility. It is ego. It is fear. It is your pride dressed up as virtue. Because every time you hold back from asking for something, every time you swallow your ask, every time keep it inside, every time you convince yourself that that would be too much to ask, you're not being noble. You're not being selfless. You're actually robbing your mission, your company, your team of oxygen. You're robbing your team of momentum that they so much need. You're robbing, more importantly, you're robbing the world of what you came here to create. You're robbing or you're stealing the gift that you have to share with the world of your leadership, of the impact that you would do. And let us be clear, right? This is not being selfless. This is actually being selfish. That is ego. And I want to share my own personal story. I can speak on this because this was me, right? I have been there. There was a time when I hesitated even to ask people to work with me. I was waiting. I waited for them to initiate. I waited for them to figure out how brilliant I am and then asking for my help rather than me initiating and offering my support or ask for the partnership, ask for the job, ask for the relationship. And I waited for them to see my brilliance, and I was waiting, and underneath that waiting, I was too proud. I wanted them to see who I was without being willing to articulate who I am and what is the mission that I am on. I was too proud to speak about myself and my mission. I was too proud to extend my gift, extend my help, extend my skills and talents to others. I was too proud to say that this is what we can do together. I was too proud to ask boldly for the business, the partnership, the deal. And what happened? I waited. I waited. And you know what I got after that? Nothing. No momentum, no big breakthroughs, no big impact. And then, because the ego, the same ego which stopped me from asking, always needs something or somebody to blame, I blamed myself. I blamed other people. I blamed the market. And it ate me up from the inside, knowing that I was brilliant and yet not being able to get into agreements with people to share that brilliance with other people. And I thought I was being humble, I thought I was being modest, I thought I was being selfless. But the truth was that it was my ego. It was not humility, it was not selflessness. It was fear and it was pride. It was the fear of rejection, it was the fear of looking needy. It was the fear of somebody saying that you are too much. It was the fear of somebody asking me back, who the hell do you think you are? And me not able to articulate my own mission. And that fear nearly cost me everything. I will never forget this conversation with a potential client. I was being all humble, downplaying my needs, when she stopped me mid sentence. And she told me, wait, are you asking me to invest in your coaching, in the work that we will do together? Or are you begging me with an apology already in hand? This was brutal for me to hear. But she was right. And she continued, right? She told me right blank in my face, I don't work with those who don't believe in themselves enough to ask for what they need. And she said that how can she trust me to fight for her company if I was not even willing to fight for myself? If I was not even willing to fight for this conversation? That hit hard. It took me some time to digest that. Now, this pattern, I also see it almost every single day with my clients, with one or the other clients. Now, these people, my clients, are brilliant founders and CEOs. These people are visionary leaders. These are the people who have and will change entire industries and impact not just lives of their employees, but also lives of the communities in which they do business and the customers that they serve. These people are not doing what they are doing for personal gain or for greed or personal glory. They are doing it to improve the world. They are doing their business, they are doing their company to create something the world doesn't have. to solve a problem that they see, to create a better world. And yet, I see this almost every day. They refuse to ask. One founder I worked with, let's call him Abdul, he was terrified of making unreasonable requests. He would say, I don't want to burden my team. He would tell me, I don't want to ask too much from my investors. I don't want to push my partners too hard. How can I ask that from a stranger? And we met recently and he shared a problem in the business. And I asked him when did the problem occur? And he said 10 days ago. And I asked him how important is this? And he said 10 out of 10, right? And my next question was like, why did you not send me a message and request that I intervene and support him immediately? And his response to me was, I was waiting for our next scheduled conversation, which was 10 days in the future. His message to me was, I didn't want to trouble you. I didn't want to take advantage of you or overreach or do more than what we have agreed upon in our agreements. And I told him that all of this sounds so noble and I'm going to call you bullshit on this. Like, this is the reason, exact reason your company is held back by you. You're not even making requests for what you yourself call a very critical issue. You're not even making me requests for that, an issue that can make or break the company. I could have said no, right? If you have made a request, I could have said no, but you didn't even give me the chance. You didn't even ask. You came in your own way. I had to tell him this. And all of this, right, which we all do, including me, is very good sounding, all well-meaning and good sounding, right? You have good intentions. But I'm telling you, this is being too good. Sometimes you can be too good for the CEO role that you are in, and that can slow or impact or hamper your growth of the company, especially for a leader like you who are here to do something good for the people around them and not just doing something for greed or personal glory. And you know what I told him after that, right? You're not asking. You can never ask for too much. For somebody like you, you can never ask for too much. Let people say yes or no to you, but don't do it on their behalf. And you think asking, you're stopping, you're not asking because you think asking is taking. But for you, asking is giving. Like, when you ask, you give others a chance to join you, to join hands in your mission. When you ask for a partnership, you're not begging. You're giving people the gift of joining something beautiful. When you ask for investment, you're not burdening anybody. You're not asking for a favor. You're giving that investor a chance to multiply their impact, their money, and their legacy through investing in your organization. When you ask for help, right, you're not being selfish. You're inviting others into a mission that matters, into making a difference in an area that matters to you. Now, this guy in front of me, this founder, just because he kept shrinking, he kept disguising his fear as selflessness and humility, he being selfless by not asking is actually being selfish. And he is hurting himself, his team, his customers, the wider community, all with good intentions and without even realizing that he is coming in the way. And he asking for more is a selfless act in the service of all those who will benefit if this company succeeds. If you stand for something big, something bigger than yourself, then you being selfish and asking for what you need is a selfless act. And I want to ask you, are you slowing down your own mission and company by holding yourself back? Are you doing the exact same thing? Maybe the situation is a bit different for you. But my question to you is, where are you doing the same thing? Where are you letting what we call normally selfless behavior become selfish in the larger interest of your mission? What you and your team are here to do. So let me ask you this, right? What would happen if you stopped equating asking for help with weakness? What would happen if you stopped sacrificing your voice so that others' needs appear bigger than yours? And could your too humble to ask, I would never ask or never burden somebody mindset be nothing more than just fear of rejection, just fear wearing the disguise of humility? Like, which bold opportunities have you already missed because you didn't ask? Let us put it this way, right? Imagine you are the captain of a football team. Your star striker is in front of the goal. The whole team is counting on him to shoot. But instead, the striker thinks, now that would be too greedy. I can't shoot. I've already have scored 3 goals. That would be selfish for me to score 1 more. That would be too many goals in my name. Sounds ridiculous, right? The striker's job is to shoot. the team needs him to shoot. And that is exactly what leaders do when they refuse to ask, when they refuse to go boldly for what they want. You stand in front of the goal, the mission depends on you, and you say, I don't want to impose. I don't want to ask too much. I will carry it alone. That is not humility. That is not being selfless. That is ego. That is arrogance. That is being selfish. And I want you to hear this because you let your mission, your company, and your team suffer because of a reason that starts with I. Now, that I is your ego. You're letting your notion of yourself being too nice, too selfless, that I come in the way of your mission, of your outcomes, of your team. And that I of being too small, of being humble, of being selfless is as much ego as the I of arrogance, as the I which says I am better than you. The I which says I can't ask for this, that would be too much for me, is as much ego as the I of arrogance which says I am better than you. Arrogance is believing that you must carry it all by yourself. That is also arrogance. Because others will not just read your mind and see your brilliance. They will not just come forward to help on their own if you don't ask. It doesn't work that way. Let me break down this pattern for you, right? You hide behind modesty. You say that if my work is good enough, people will notice. Let me tell you, they won't. You fear rejection, but you call that humility. You avoid bold requests. You avoid asking for what you want. As a result, smaller deals, missed partnerships, unnecessary long sales cycles, burnout. And then because ego hates accountability, you blame the market like I did. You blame your team like I have done. And you blame timing or even yourself or even your luck like I have for most of my life. But let me tell you the truth which nobody else will. Excessive selflessness is just silent ego. It is again arrogance in disguise. Because true humility, right? True humility is not denying your needs, is not asking for what you want. True humility is seeing that asking is giving. When you are, especially when you're coming from a place of service, when you want to create impact, asking is giving. That is true humility. When you are living to make lives better of other people, your asks are gift. They give and not take. So for you, if you're listening, asking is giving. Being humble or being modest is not nobility or selflessness. It is not even leadership. That is fear. That is not leadership. That is staying small. That is playing not to lose instead of playing to win. That is ego whispering the language of stay small, don't risk it, protect yourself. But I want you to hear me very clearly today. Your mission is too important to be strangled by your pride or by your notions of what is humble or modest or not. Your vision is too big to be suffocated by your fear or by your modesty or you staying in your lane. So let us imagine something together. Imagine if you can make just one bold and unreasonable request every single day. The kind of request that would make you uncomfortable. That's the kind of request that I am talking to you. The kind of request that you are not making today. Imagine if you can make just one such bold and unreasonable request every single day. Imagine the kind of partnerships that would be formed. Imagine the kind of investments that would be unlocked. Imagine the opportunities that would explode for you. Even if maybe a very small percentage of those requests are accepted, the world would look very different for you, wouldn't it? Because here is the truth. When you're leading in service of a mission that improves lives, asking is not taking, asking is giving. Every bold ask is not a burden on somebody, it is an invitation for others to join hands with you, an invitation for others to contribute, an invitation for others to step into greatness alongside you, to play a small role in your journey. So stop lying to yourself, stop calling it humility or simply being selfless. Stop hiding behind your ego. Because when you hold yourself back, you are holding everybody back, everybody along you. You're not protecting yourself. You're not protecting anybody. You're denying others the chance to join you. So here is my challenge to you. Stop apologizing for who you are. Stop apologizing for being a good, noble and committed leader. Stop apologizing for wanting more for your company, for your people, for the world and for yourself. Own it. Own who you are. Claim it and ask for it. Make one bold request that scares you. Ask for that partnership. Ask for that funding. Ask for that help. Ask for that introduction, no matter how unreasonable that sounds. Don't hedge yourself, don't sugarcoat, don't apologize. Ask as if the future depends on it. Because you know what? It does. When the fear, right? When the discomfort, oh, you are being selfish, you can't ask for that. Whenever that fear whispers in your ears, remember this: you are not taking, you're giving. Asking for leaders when you're leading from a place of service, of impact, is giving. That ask is a give. That ask is a gift. You're giving others the chance to step up. You're giving others the chance to contribute. You're giving others the chance to be a part of something big, something that matters. So stop calling it humility. Stop hiding behind selflessness and modesty, and start asking boldly, unapologetically, and unreasonably for the future that you are here to create in your role as a leader, as an entrepreneur, as a CEO, or sometimes even in your family, as a father, as a mother, or in the society as a citizen. Right? Ask for what you need if it benefits the world around. Because when you ask, you're not burdening anybody. You're not burdening anybody out there. You're not asking for a favor. You're blessing the people in front of you. You're blessing the world. When you ask, you're actually giving. Asking is giving. It is your move now.